So have you ever gone through the day and at the end of the day, you're like, what did I do today? I don't feel like I actually accomplished what I needed to accomplish. Has anybody experienced that? I know I have. It's not a fun feeling because it's like, but I did work all day long. So it's not actually the work I want to be doing. It's not meeting with people. It's not having those conversations. It's not fill in the blank. It's this work about work. And that can be really draining and tiring. Maybe it's we have an email that comes in and it's like, hey, can you send me that link to that file, that thing? I'm like, thought I already did that. Okay, fine. And then we go hunt it down. We try to find it. And 5, 10, 15 minutes go by. We already sent it to them. They just didn't know where it was. Or maybe we get a message on Slack. Maybe it's a customer texts us. Like, I have to stop what I'm doing and I have to go over and do this other thing. And so I met with their team. There's about 6 of them. And they're closing millions in sales. They already seem very effective. And so could anybody guess how much time I found wasted in their small 6-person team? In a week. Let's say in a week. In a week. 8 hours. Okay. Around 25 hours of wasted time every week. And so I worked with them, and a lot of it boiled down to a few different things. One of which centered around people doing things their own way. This is how I've always done it. This is how I'm going to keep doing it. And so they were having to jump context, do this work about work. And it was draining their time. You have to kind of like put on a different hat. And then like, okay, where was this? What was that? And then kind of jump back and forth. It takes a long time. And so probably the core underlying thing that I found in this small team of 6 people, their systems didn't support their growth. And so they didn't recognize that they were losing this time. And one of the partners was like, but Kevin, what if I need the information right away? And then Joe, where would that information be? Joe's like, well, I would have put it in the report that I emailed him. I'm like, okay. So Mike already has access to it. If you set up your systems properly, you can get the information a lot faster. And then it's not this back and forth, this waiting game. I have to wear all these hats. In order to start a business, in order to start a team and run something that's creating value for others, I have to do all this work. But all this work needs to be being done. And so it got to this point pretty soon thereafter that my work was requiring more of my time and my family was requiring more of my time. And I'm like, started to feel this weight, this overwhelm, this burden of, I can't do it all. Like, I don't have enough time to give. My wife needs more of my time. My family needs more of my time. My job needs more of my time. Those are statements. So they're kind of, this kind of phrase was statements keep me stuck. And I learned that questions can create freedom. As I ask the questions, what's different? Why is it different? Oh, it's not just that my wife needs more of my time. When does she need my time? Kevin, I'm so frustrated. Kevin, it took me over 15 minutes and 5 tools to find the answer to one question. All of this information kind of flows to the owner. What's the kind of the phrase you might have heard? Bottleneck. This becomes a bottleneck. You have all these things, and then you hire an employee. Hey, go bake my pies for me. I'm going to go do this other stuff. But if you don't train, if you don't teach, if you don't create the standards, it's not going to get done your way. The question there is, how are we a bottleneck? And that's a really hard question. Maybe who can do this? Maybe instead of how can I do this, maybe who can do this for me? And that's the beginning of creating freedom. 2 of the main questions that I wrestle with, because I'm in this technology consulting space, it's like I don't have time to learn new things. Okay, the statement. Or I can't afford new things. Okay, I hear you. I hear that you said that. Affirming that they feel that way. And the truth is, oftentimes people are already spending money on whatever it is, the solution that they need. They're just not realizing that it's not new money. Or they're spending time on that thing because they don't want to take the time to step back and really assess the process. That's the thing that I like to help people with, is like, how do you become the person who knows when and how to use technology, talent, and tools to create freedom for you and your team? Oftentimes, the who can do it for me is going to cost a lot of money. And that's just how it is, because if somebody's really good at what they do, it's going to cost a lot of money. I get that. But at the same point, we can be stuck, and I know I've experienced this. It's like when someone says, hey, I can solve this problem for you. Like, it's going to cost this much money. I'm like, okay, that's a lot of money. Sounds like, feels like, kind of feel that. And so I'm kind of allowing myself to be stuck, or maybe I don't believe them. Maybe I'm like, I don't think you can actually solve my problem. I don't trust you. And so like if somebody came up to you and said, hey, can I send you money? Probably not. I don't trust you. I don't know you. But that is, let's say that's more of a negative way of thinking versus a curious way of thinking. But if we can move to being curious, it's like, okay, skeptical, maybe I would say skepticism is different than negativism, if you may. So, okay, let me hear you. I'm interested. So to kind of open the door of like, okay, I'll listen, but be cautious, be careful, be curious. But that kind of having that shift is what's going to allow someone to move from being the bottle to being the throttle. When an owner moves from being the bottle to being the throttle, they actually now have control over the speed at which business happens. And that would be a nice place to be if things are working well. When things go too fast, too quickly, there can be a problem. I get that. And so I want to kind of leave you with this picture of, in thinking of growth and forward motion, how do we get there? What does it look like? So this picture is a potted plant. Has anybody ever bought a potted plant of any kind? So when I'm there, so I went to Horn's nursery last fall, and my wife and I, we bought like 12 plants. They all came in these pots. Some of them even had fruit on them still. Like you go to a nursery, I've been to a blueberry nursery, and all these pots, like hundreds of pots, they all have fruit on these blueberry bushes. I'm like, yes, and like we're eating blueberries off of them. When I get them home, those blueberries die very quickly because at the nursery, they have their systems set up for these potted plants to have the nutrients and the water that they need. I don't have that system set up at my house because I don't have all these hoses and everything. And so my job is to either give it water, nutrients, but that's only going to allow the plant to grow so much because it's in this pot. The roots can't get down and grow because if the roots don't grow, the fruits don't grow. And so my wife and I, we had to get those 12 plants in the ground as fast as possible. And so, like, okay, cool. I'm going to do a lot of digging. That sounds like fun with our great thick soil. And so I started, it's a Saturday, and I got out, me and my shovel, and I went and I dug a hole. It took over an hour, and it was hard. And I was exhausted after that hour. So that was me doing it myself, the DIY approach. And so I'm like, this needs to be faster. I don't want to spend all this time. It's like going to take this much time to do this thing. But we need it to happen. Okay, so what's kind of the in-between? Well, I want to try a new power tool. So let's go to Tri-City Power. And I rented an auger. You guys have ever used or seen one of those big old drill? It's really hard, just going to say that. But I used it, and it took what took over an hour down to 20 minutes. And so I was able to do all those holes. I was still exhausted. We got it done in a day. And so, but I also chose, rather than just kind of sticking it out and spending all of this time, I paid a little bit of money to shrink that timeline. So I saved myself a little bit of time, a little bit of energy, and I spent a little bit of money. And so we have maybe the DIY approach and then the done with you approach. And so a little bit of time, a little bit of money. What would be, could anybody guess what's that last step, the like fully done for you? For this specific example, getting plants in the ground. I could just pay someone to plant them for me. But that's, again, like less time, but more money.